since Stillmatic, I've been at it. Headbangers call me Masha Thrasher. After the retweets, I'm at you. No treat these, your CDs are frisbee. Trash them. Has been.
What is up, everybody? We are back. We are back for the first episode of The Table. What is up, Scorpio? You're gonna
What's
say hi,
good?
Scorpio?
What's good?
Say, are we muted now?
I did say hi. Do you not hear me?
The frick? Where did he go? I was like, dang, already.
Can you hear me?
So as people saw, we were supposed to have Mary on. Mary might be watching. Mary, I apologize. You're not on, as you
I'm
can
trying not
see.
to laugh about it.
Hold on. Yo, do you mind?
I'm trying not to.
This is not a laughing matter. Hold on a sec. Anyway,
she's not on right now. She doesn't know because she doesn't see that she's not on right now.
yo, you know what? Anyways,
Technical difficulties on her end.
yeah, she has some technical difficulties on her end, so we decided to get Kaylee. So Kaylee is
next time
the
you
new
want her
Mary
on
right now,
and show her how to do it, preacher. I was just thinking about that.
You said what?
I said I can try and show
next
her.
time.
You know.
Well, thanks for suggesting that now, Kaylee.
Well,
I'm just joking.
excuse my brain. You totally got me
I'm
off
just
guard
messing
here,
with
so.
you. I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
I think we
So
threw Mary off.
so I figured it's something nice we can do because we have Kaylee. Kaylee was on. Well, she was on the live the other day when somebody had their own technical difficulty. He shall not be named, but he's may or may not be up here with us. And then she was on Preacher's Corner and told her story. So if anybody wants to see that episode, make sure to go to YouTube and check out Kaylee's episode. She tells her story. So yeah, but
and I was
tonight,
on recently. We just talked about chronic illnesses, and did you forget? We just did a chronic illness thing,
that's right. You were on that episode because that's when you guys were dogging me for not reaching out.
Yeah, we weren't dogging. We were just holding you accountable. There's a difference.
Both dogging me and holding me accountable.
The truth.
Okay, well,
The truth.
Yeah. Okay.
The truth.
That's what we're supposed to do.
The truth is on fire. But anyways, so I am your host, Preacher. We got my co-host, Scorpio, and we have Miss Kaylee. So in all seriousness, we were supposed to have Mary on. She had technical difficulty. We'll get her back on. We were supposed to have someone else on as well last week, but Scorpio and I were trekking through our old stomping grounds, and we'll be talking more about that
what an adventure
on Friday, and just what we got from that and took away from that experience. And so we're just gonna ask Kaylee some questions.
It was changing.
Table, it's laid back. Can't wait to hear some of her answers for these questions. Got a couple icebreaker questions to get her broken in to the table. But Kaylee, how's your day going?
Not great. I don't feel good today.
Oh, but you're here.
Yeah,
That's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
You showed up.
Yep. And then I have to show up in new beginnings.
Hey, that's because Kaylee's a beast.
I try, but sometimes it's hard. It's hard. Just kidding. Oh, but
it's hard being you, man. It's hard being you.
Listen, some days you ain't lying. It really is hard to be me.
But look, so let's just jump right into it. The
Got
first question I have for you, Kaylee, what's something like when people look at you and they first see you or they get to know you a little bit, what is something that people misunderstand about you immediately?
Oh, sometimes it's my tone of voice. Because
Explain.
like I'll say something and it comes off totally not the way I meant it, and people get their feelings hurt because they think I'm being rude, and I'm really just not.
She said, but I'm not being rude. I'm just telling how it is.
Some
Yeah,
people
not every
just
time
have-
I'm not being rude.
Some people just have that.
sometimes.
Some people are just like that. You know, like
Hey, listen, I
you know,
got that
they just have
RBF
that.
too.
Either they
She said I got that RBF too. She
Preacher
said
knows.
that. She said that automatically makes people think a certain thing.
Yes, it does, because it's just my face. I'm really not mean.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it depends on the situation, but generally it's just my face.
Facts.
it's more like the situation.
Nah, we've known each other for a while.
Yeah.
And you do have some good energy. That's why you're probably, besides Scorpio and I, you're probably the next longest tenure face on this platform.
Yeah.
Not the platform, but the
I get it.
Savage Collective whole. What kind of energy are you bringing right now to the table?
Tired energy.
You said what kind of energy?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. We get
tired energy. I'm just exhausted. It's been a long day.
Is tired really an energy?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Is.
It's a
It
thing.
is.
Like, you can give off a vibe, like an energy vibe, and still be exhausted. Like, I know I look like I'm tired because my mom and my daughter just told me that. They're like, you look exhausted. Go lay down. Because
They said, please.
Yeah.
Lay down. She said, I can't.
They said, get out my face.
Get out my face.
Get out my face.
I got work to do.
Yeah. My daughter just gave my cat catnip, so he's sitting here like
he's feeling good.
he is
He's feeling good. He's like, I'm just here to watch.
Yeah, he is too. He's just staring at me like licking his lips. I'm like, bro, get away from me.
He's like, you got some more of that?
Nope, sure don't. And even if I did, sure don't.
The addiction starts.
Wonder if they have cat rehab.
Dude, it's funny because I told my daughter that he was in rehab for catnip, and then she just made him relapse. And she was like, "That's not even a thing." I said, "It is. It's rehab at home. We just stopped giving him the nip, and now he's poor guy."
I got that nip for you, man.
Don't say it like that, please.
Yeah, that's not. No.
Some people could take that so wrong. We might go in Facebook jail now. YouTube's gonna ban us.
I was thinking it though. He just said it, but I definitely thought it.
Exactly.
If this one's interesting, if your life had a chapter title right now, what would it be?
Wow.
A chapter title. Oh. Reconstruction.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
Explain. Do explain. Do
Okay,
elaborate.
so I have to have, as you know, I had my tonsils out. I had to have something done to my shoulder, and then in August I have to have my knee, like stuff going on with my knee. And
dang. Now I understand reconstruction.
Well, not just that, but also, I guess reconstruction, because I started a weight loss journey. Today I didn't do very well because I haven't been feeling good, but I've been walking on the treadmill every night, anywhere between 5 and 7 minutes, because that's about as much as I can handle right now. And then I'm doing like low carb, which I have to be careful with that because of my MS, but like I do low carb meals and stuff, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm only on day like 4, but that's not the point. The point is I'm trying.
Hey, that's what I gotta start
matters.
doing those too. I ain't gonna lie. So I feel you.
At the end of the day though, that's what like really matters though. Like
It really is.
because that's
how it
what
starts.
turns into consistency. That's what turns into
Yeah.
habits. Like
Yeah.
you
But you
you
gotta
don't get
remember,
there
you're
unless
breaking.
you first try.
You gotta remember, you're breaking old habits, so you gotta start getting into a different routine. It's never gonna just be off the jump. You're not gonna get 100%. You gotta start.
Right.
You gotta
Right.
start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, today's my skip day because I don't feel good. So
Six
just gonna.
6 days. 6 days happen. It
Yeah,
happens.
that's just what we're gonna call it. Sick day.
Hey, I gotta do the same thing. So I'll knock it. So I'll knock it.
I don't take skip days.
Preacher,
Okay.
what would your title be, bro?
What would my title be?
Yeah.
Also reconstruction.
Isn't that yeah? Yeah, really. It's in there.
I don't mean it in a bad way. Just
Waiting.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Hmm.
That's what mine would be. Waiting.
You can't elaborate.
Elaborate. Well, because I'm like with this podcast and things like that, like waiting for something to happen. Like, so yeah, I think it would be waiting. Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Depending, because it's your title. It's your title. It's important to you. So
what about you, Scorpio?
Mine would be the fog.
The fog?
Yeah, the fog.
Okay, do explain.
Right now in my life, I am going through a little like things that I'm not sure about. You know, a lot of things that I'm doing in my life, I'm not. You know, it's the first time in my life that I'm taking chances. I really don't know what the end of the road is going to show, but I'm willing to take these chances because, I mean, we only get to live on this planet one time. So let's see where these roads lead.
Unless you go into cryogenic sleep.
We're not going to go into science right now, and we're not going to hope for that.
Then you're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, then we'll have a bunch of comments in our comment section about that too. So let's.
It'll be like, that is impossible.
So what are your thoughts on reservoir?
The scientific discovery of that is definitely not where it can happen. I don't even know if that made sense, what I just said.
The comment section will be lit with a whole bunch of different type of people.
Yo, you know what? I do like this because this is almost a way for them to get to know all of us. Like, so, yeah, it almost. Thank you, Mary, for not being. I'm joking. Just joking.
We love Miss Mary. We love you, Mary.
We love you.
We love you.
Heart shaped.
Hearts. This one's good. And this is going to lead us into some more serious stuff. Do you think that people are lonelier now than ever before?
I don't know how to answer that. Do I think people are alone? I mean, I don't know how to. I'm not trying to spark a debate. I don't have the energy for it.
That's what the table's for.
I think
Spark
that's more.
a freaking debate.
I think that's true. I mean, to be honest, like I think social media.
What's true? It's a question. How can the question be true?
I think that it has made people like that. I think that people are more. What's the word I'm looking for? More
lonely.
Not lonely. It's not.
It makes people more dumb at the moment because our whole situation in these is dumb. That's just how I feel. It makes people cruel. It's making people heartless. It's just.
That's what I feel like. I feel the same. I don't think it makes them lonely. I think it's made people like social media makes people. Me personally, I think it makes people feel envious, and that's not. That's not what it should be.
Yeah,
you gotta think you've got these people, and I'm not knocking content creators because I love all my friends that are content creators, but I'm saying like you get some of those people that are trying to do like this content stuff, and like it's like a competition. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the groups that I'm in is all I get, and it's not a group for content creators. It's like a recovery group, and all I get are follow me, do this. I need followers. Please send stars, and it's like that is not recovery. That is not the place for it.
Hey, I do that.
But you don't.
Yeah, but
go
not
in,
to that extent.
not
You
to
know,
that
like
extent. Not you
you're
don't
not
go.
trying to build, or you're trying to build something. You're not trying to get 1 million followers because you need your pockets filled. You know, these are people that are taking advantage of the subject itself.
Yes.
You know, like if you're taking advantage of the subject, like, okay, we're in a recovery based place, but you're trying to get 1 million followers or 1,000 followers only because, not because you're trying to help people, which is what you're supposed to be doing on the platform, but you're trying just to make money.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because you don't want to work a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. And there's
And
people
that's
that are
what a
just
lot
trying
of
to.
people do.
It's just, and with everything going on in the world today, it's just ass. That's just ass.
It's true. It's true. It's turning a lot of people against other people, which is really what it's not meant to do.
Yeah.
I really don't. Now, I don't know what the big wigs of, the internet decided this is what their platform was going to be used for, but I really don't think that at the end of the day they were like, yes, let's cause controversy in the world and have people, judge the next person and want what the other person has. So they're constantly posting, even though you feel like, how many times have you seen people that personally having a shitty day, but on their content they are having a beautiful day today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, and not with everybody, because
No.
anybody who sees my posts, like whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I post regardless.
Well,
But
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
people who only post their good stuff.
Yes.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to get at. Not everybody's the same. No, there's no two content creators that are the same, but there are some that are doing it for the wrong reasons.
That's true. That's true.
See,
And it's
this
not.
is the kind of top stuff we can be every week. Talk. The table's gonna go in. I'm telling you. What's and this is the last like icebreaker opening kind of question before we dive into the like. I have questions on identity and relationships and purpose, things like that. Kaylee's gonna have to get off, of course, but
Yeah.
Scorpio and I will definitely stay on. But the last one, what's something you wish people talked about more, honestly?
Oh, something people
Or
talk
more
about.
honestly. What's something you wish people
Their
talked about
feelings,
more honestly?
like how they're feeling, instead of
Wow.
sugarcoating everything. Be
Wow.
honest about it. Don't be, if you're having a shitty day, say, "Hey, man, I'm having a shitty fucking day."
But,
I was
Or
about to say that too.
if you're having a good day, like, "Hey, it's a pretty good day." If you don't like somebody, "Hey, man, I don't fucking like you." Quit trying to be fake. Like, the fakeness is just, it pisses me off. No more. The fake. I can't do the fake.
Yeah, I would rather you not. I would rather you tell how you feel, and I think I would rather more people be honest. Now, granted, there are a lot of digital creators that are honest, and to each his own. But then you can tell when someone. I think you can tell when there's a digital creator is not being honest about their content. And it's not hard. It's really just watching them consistently, and you're like, okay, that's not the same person. It happens. But I would rather you say, yo, I'm having a shitty day today. That's okay. Everybody, I don't expect somebody to constantly post on their page having a great day today. I don't, because that's unrealistic. That's not true.
Talking like content creators. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody.
Everybody in the club game. No.
Hey, stupid.
No.
Stupid.
No, I think
I agree.
that's and I think mental health too. And of course mental health is people are talking more about mental health. But I think that's one thing that not many people I think men's mental health is the thing that's not talked about the most.
Yeah.
When we look at mental health, and it's because you have a culture where it's like, oh, if you're a guy, suck it up and drive on. Like you're supposed to be manly and get over it and like, but that's not how it is. Like we're
Right.
human at the end of the day, and guys go through stuff just like females do, and so I think as society moves forward, I think we're becoming more aware, but I still don't think we talk about it enough.
But
Like,
as
Right.
a man, that's not easy, for a lot of reasons. One, because your other half, the other people in your life, including other males, will judge you whether they say they're not or they are. And on the other, and so will females. Whether females sit there and they can say, "Oh, well, no, I won't judge you," and I want a sensitive man, and I want to understand that that's not necessarily true.
until you're sensitive.
Exactly. And then when you
Hey now,
are, then it's a
that's not
judging moment.
that's I can honestly 100%. I don't judge people. I used to, but I don't anymore because I've been there. I am
But
not.
see, that took time. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like it came off like you were already that type of person.
Right.
So it's hard for other people to be like, okay, let me put my feelings out there and not be judged. And maybe somebody connects to me, because 9 times out of 10, that means that other person has to open up. And most people aren't that like okay, let me open up to that person because they opened up.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. Like that was me before I had my active addiction and or was in addiction, and now that I'm in recovery, I'm
Mm,
nobody knows that version of me anymore. Before
right.
my addiction and during my addiction, nobody knows that version of me anymore.
Which isn't a bad thing. I mean, those are things that for some people like me as well, those are things that you dead and bury. Those are things that it needed to be buried and put away, and I never really look back.
Right.
Like if you may catch me once in a while because I went through my phone and found some pictures and
Yeah.
may have a moment of nostalgia, like, oh, I remember that. But other than that, that's as much time as I give myself to that moment, because that was a different person, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was a completely different person. When I met my co-host over here, I was a completely different person. And so was
We
he.
both were.
He was, yeah, we both were. We completely different
Absolutely.
people with different goals. Like I remember this podcast when we sat and talked about it. We sat and talked about doing this podcast in a car while we were getting high as a joke.
Isn't that
It's like
fucking crazy?
as a joke, we were literally sitting there like, yo, as we're smoking, talking about, yo, man, we should open up a podcast. We should do a podcast about this, and going on about the day. And it wasn't until later on that we were like, yo, there's legs behind this. Let's do it. Like, what's stopping us?
Right.
And how else? And we didn't know how, and we wanted to give back. That was the main thing. We want to be able to give back to other people. If we can give you any type of, at the end of the day, how we feel, and maybe you can kind of relate to it and use it, especially people that are in their early like recovery, because that's really where this podcast is supposed to help you, that early recovery,
Well,
moment.
that was the initial.
Well, yeah, that was the initial setup on why we did it. Now
Yeah.
it's different, now it's everybody, whatever you're going through, especially life shit, like,
Absolutely.
Right now, you're having a shitty day, like this is, but hey, you here talking about it for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Um,
I do have to
hold on
get
a
ready
sec.
to go do the other live.
Yes, you go.
Do I just hit done like up in the messenger thing and it'll log me out?
Yeah, it'll knock
Okay.
you out.
All right. Thank you for having me on here, guys, and I look forward to working with you in the
See you
future.
later. We'll check you on the next podcast on the other one.
All right. Sounds good.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hold on a sec. Nah, keep talking though. I'm about to do something. Hold on.
I still see her face on my screen. Just a smiling person, just like
There we go. There we go.
Well,
Here,
then-
answer this question. When did you realize that life was harder than you expected?
Wow. An addiction.
Explain.
Like honestly, when you left,
Wow.
when you went
And
to,
I'm not saying wow as in like wow, really? Like that could be taken.
that's what
so
you
wrong.
get, nigga. That's what you get. You're right. You better struggle when I leave.
But I'm saying as in like wow, like I wouldn't have thought that would have been the thing that like pushed you over that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of it was so in my addiction. When I fell into my addiction, it was because I was following another person. It wasn't that I fell into my addiction because I wanted to, I was struggling. I've never been that type that was, in a bad mental health place. I was in a good place in my life. It was just I met a person that was struggling in their mental health. Me not truly understanding what addiction was and what mental health was, really, to be honest, I kind of didn't handle the situation well. And instead of, and then I was so scared on losing the person that instead of me being the man and kind of like, no, I stick into my guns, I tried to ease into what that other person was doing. And so I allowed a lot of stuff I allowed her to get away with a lot of things that I should have stood up against. Now, fast forward now, I fall into my addiction and now we're both in our addictions. Now, I kind of was okay with that still at the time because it was like no responsibilities, nothing to worry about, not even thinking about the future, not worried about it, just constantly just worried about my drug habit. And that was it. Then I meet you and I'm doing the same thing. Another person that's just chasing their drug habit, whether it was for whatever purpose. Obviously there was different reasons, but at the end of the day, that's all we were doing. Days on days, chasing our drug habit, seeing where it leads, not knowing what we're doing the next day. Oh, fucking well. Now, here I am. When you left, it was like, wait a minute. So people leave this lifestyle? And then it was like, okay, well, he left this lifestyle, but then things got a lot harder. Mm-hmm. Now I was thinking different, but I was still in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about my future, but I'm still with a bunch of people that have no intention of thinking about tomorrow. All they're worried about is their drug habit. And then it got worse because now I realized I had responsibilities even as a person in their habit. Like I had to worry about my girlfriend and how she was getting her drugs, how I was getting mine. I had a dog, that I didn't know how to really support. And I felt bad that my dog was going through this bullshit with me, and I felt bad that as a man, I wasn't protecting my girlfriend. And that's what really started getting to me, that I was in such a bad turmoil in my recovery that I was not doing the main things as a man. My main job as a man is to protect my wife or my girlfriend and to have my own. And I wasn't doing any of these things. I felt like I was less of a man because of these things. Like it wasn't good. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get into recovery, because I wanted more. I want to be able to support myself. I wanted to be able to support my girlfriend or my wife at the time. I want to have my dog and keep him safe. There were so many things that I realized after you left, I needed to do. It's different when you have a partner,
Yeah.
So when I was with you, it was different, because then if I fell off, then you were doing something.
Well,
and if you fell
you
off,
have to think too, when when we were running the street together and we were in addiction, like and I think that's why you and I got so close, is because when the girls went off to do stuff, it was you and me.
Yeah.
And so like it was always you and I. And so even when they were doing their own thing and we couldn't find, it was Preacher and Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so like I think that's like, and so like I almost think that's why you followed close behind me, because and not that you were leaning on me, but really you guys had my vehicle, like, and everything, and so you guys were kind of leaning on me, and so when I left, they had to look to someone else, and you were the next person to look to. And so then you're like, well, shit, I don't have a vehicle, I need to go get one.
Well,
which set in motion the chain of events that got you clean. Like,
yeah, because when you left, I mean, we were, when you left, we still maintained for a while.
Yeah.
And we were able to maintain for a while. Like, I made sure that we, like, between me and Sarah, we kind of made sure that we had a place to stay. That was the number one thing. You know, we were lucky enough that we were blessed by other people that were in the struggle that we spent time with, that we were able to stay at this person's house or this person's house. But you can only do that for so long, you know, and especially in that lifestyle, you can only do that so long without paying a toll. And people's kindness only, especially in that lifestyle, people's kindness it doesn't last very long.
No, not
you
at
know,
all.
and then you have to, and then you have to start doing all types of things that you never thought that you do. You know, and I think that's where everything turned, because I had a line, and I meant, when I said I wasn't crossing a certain line, I meant that shit. But when you're dope sick and you don't want to be sick, some people have no problem crossing that line. Now, me personally, I had a problem crossing certain lines. I meant that shit. And I think that's why I went into recovery. I think that everybody has a certain point that they're just like, I'm not passing this line. But then there's some people that they compromise and compromise and compromise. And then next thing you know, you're in a whole different lifestyle that you never thought you'd be in. But it's too late now. Now it's too, now who do you, and now you've burnt bridges and you've lost people. So now what do? You know, it's not like okay, let me go turn my life around and go into an inpatient or a detox center. Now it's, I'm too deep in. You know, now who's help? Now you really, now there's no other choice, but someone literally needs to grab you and pull you out. But who's willing to do that? Because it's not like you're just going to grab that person and pull them out. You also have to get your hand dirty to grab that person out. It's not just, I'm going to grab you and pull you out and that's it.
Well, I think that's why the most effective recovery workers are ones that have been through addiction.
Of course.
Because you know what to expect when you reach your hand in. You're not going to be shocked when you go on the street and you see the conditions that people are living in. You're not going to be shocked because you're like, yo, I already knew what these people were going through because I've been there.
It's the same thing with like okay, so say it's the same thing with like you trying to be say you were trying to be a doctor. Now, you being a doctor, it's hard. You can take your medical, what you learned in medical school, and you can, like, say you're a male and you learned as much as you could in medical school. It's hard for you still to relate to a female and what she's going through, even though you're a medical professional, which Absolutely. Is why there's female medical professionals, because they can relate. Same thing goes vice versa for a male. It's the same thing that goes when it's to drug and alcohol. I don't take anything away from a person that hasn't been in this lifestyle, but went and got all their credentials to be a medical counselor. I take nothing from them. It is not easy to learn a complete, like something that you have no experience in, and to go to school and to focus on it because somehow it touched your life and you want to help. I get that. And I think that takes a lot of determination, and I don't take anything from them. But it's not it's you still have to somehow have a connection to that. You need to know the struggle of what it's like to not know where your next meal is coming from.
100%.
To be okay with sleeping on the street, and literally and to be able to know, to be so sick that I don't give a damn if I'm in front of a church. I'm going to hit my pipe because I don't want to be sick right now. And I don't give a damn who sees me.
Which we did multiple times.
And I say that only because I've done it. Or then it gets down to your I'm never going to steal, or I'm not going to take from other people, or I'm not going to lie to another person. And the compromise, and that's what I mean when I say there's a certain line, and every time you make a line, you cross it.
Well, and this is a good transition into this next question. And real quick, before I jump into the next question, if you wanna join in the conversation, I dropped the link to go on. So if you want to jump into this conversation, go ahead, click that link, jump in. We'll gladly bring you up on the table. But like I said, that what you're saying leads into this next question. Like, do you think pain, do you think suffering, the things that we go through, even in addiction, do you think that changes people, or does it reveal people?
I think it reveals people. I think people have always had. I think that.
Or do you think it's both? Because I almost think it's both.
Why do you think it's both?
So if you look, there's things about me that have always been me. Like you were with me in addiction. I helped people. If you remember that one time when I went to give you a rock, you're like, bro, the fuck? Like, because it was small as hell. Because I was trying to help. And that's why people were always coming by the car, because I was always willing to help people, even though I was in addiction. And so there was things about me that didn't change. It just revealed more of who I was. But then if you look, I put a green light out on somebody. And so the pre-addiction wouldn't have done that. Post-addiction wouldn't have done that. But while I was in addiction, it changed me to the point of getting, that's why you see people like Lil J who went so far down from being high up and being like having his own business in Florida and things like that, to now getting arrested for Grand Theft Auto and junk like that.
I think, but see, I believe change is in everybody. I think change is 100%. Inevitable, and it happens whether you're in whether this. I think, okay, let's use you for example. When I met you, you were already struggling with your 100%. Faith and with your job and with a lot of other things going on in your life. Whether drugs was involved or not.
That's right, because I was still a student pastor when you met.
You were still struggling with all these things. Whether drugs, if you didn't have drugs involved, you were still in a very depressing life that you didn't 100%. Like, and we're still struggling. So if drugs weren't there and you took the drugs out, you still were in a bad place.
I just wouldn't have went into the spiral that I went into.
Granted, exactly. Now you may have went into a different spiral that you don't know of,
but
whether
you never
it's
know.
Mental health.
I might have started drinking.
Exactly, or you could have went drinking, or it could have been worse. You know, we always tend to think that drugging is such a horrible place. There's a lot of worse places you could have went to. A lot of people 100%. Don't. A lot of people, when you put them in depression and you take things from them and they feel alone, they do things that mental health is serious. That you take things from them. Some people don't know how to react, especially when family starts to kind of withdraw And the little things that do make you happy, it's the little things that make you happy that turn you into a person, I believe. And when those things start getting taken from you, or you start to forget to do them, then that's when evil shit starts to creep in. And that's when you start to do things that you never thought that you do.
Yeah.
And I think that when I met you and when you met me, we were both in the same bracket, like same level of shit. Like you were still trying to figure out what's going on this end, and I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing on this end. And you were still, but you were still maintaining. You were ahead of me, like I was. You were basically where I was at a year before. Being able to maintain your job and the fake lifestyle with other people.
Well, I don't know about maintaining, but
in the beginning
I had
you
my
were.
job.
When I first met you, you were maintaining still. You were still going to do your pastor thing. The people at your church had no clue.
Facts, because we did meet around December time. So
exactly. So you were still maintaining. Granted, you had family issues just like I did, but it wasn't your job. Dude, I was working at Rite Aid as a manager. They had no clue that I was going into bathrooms doing heroin and then coming back out to go work a shift. I was doing this on a regular basis, like literally during the pandemic.
And that you saying that does, like, so now I do, because there was times where we would hang out and then like I would use and then be like,
and then go to work.
I'm going to work.
Yes.
Even at Adidas, even when I was working at Adidas, like how many times were we right before we got to the mall, I was trying to drive with my leg and trying to hit
how many times you almost killed us? Trying to hit the pipe and get to work. Get to work.
Yo, I remember one time I was trying to hit the pipe right while I was driving. I almost ran into the back of a van. I swerved, went into the grass, into the side grass. The grass was long as hell. I went through and came out onto the road. There could have been a pole right in the middle.
That's scary.
I would have been dead.
Scary.
I would have been dead. And I passed by that place so many times. Like now that I have my license back and I drive for work, I pass by that place and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like
I think that's another thing that I look at. When I say when you talk about change. I think that I think that I've always had this type of, I think we always had this type of person inside us, whether it's that helpful person or it's that kind of a person. I think that's always been in us. I think change happens naturally, and it happens whether lifestyle is this way or lifestyle is that way. Change is inevitable. It has to happen. You have to evolve. And I think that I think we both knew what we wanted to do, where we wanted to help people. We just didn't know how to do it. And I think that addiction just helped us see that, okay, oh shit, this is it. Because we made so many connections because of the type of people we were. Like there's a lot of people that are in the drug game. They could give two shits about another person.
No, 100%.
We've seen it. We've seen people that only care about their drug, and they literally will set somebody up to get fucked up as long 100%. As it means they can get some drugs or some money out the situation. Or somebody will rob somebody, or the dudes that sell drugs, all they care about is bread. Like,
well, that's like the one question here is, what's something you had to learn the hard way? And that's something I had to learn the hard way, is that because I grew up in a good house where we went to church and things like that, and so I grew up thinking that everybody had a good side, and all you had to do was talk to somebody. And then I went into the military, and it was different. Like when I deployed, like you're deployed, so everybody's fighting in war, things like that. So I really didn't look at them as evil. I'm like, we're on their land, and they're just protecting what they have. And so I didn't really look at that. But when I was in addiction, I realized there are just some evil people.
Yeah.
And I learned it the hard way because I was like,
You seen
not
it.
victim, but I had a face-to-face seat, like a front row seat
to a lot of it. Yeah.
Especially since because of our personality, we weren't the normal drug addicts to the dealers. They let us in to circles that most drug addicts couldn't get into.
Yeah,
like we were
that was
chilling
a
with
big
dealers and things
That
like
was a
that,
big
even though
thing
we weren't a
too.
dealer. Most drug addicts weren't chilling with the dealer, but we'd
Nope.
walk up to, yo, preacher, yo, Kyle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like we had a front row seat to, oh, these people like will kill you and not think twice.
Yeah, putting guns on tables and quick to slap the fuck out somebody,
Not think
like
twice about it.
no, and I think that again, that's what. But see, it was things like that that made me realize I want to change something. Like there's got to be a change because even the drug. Okay, so even the drug dealers. Let's use some of them. I met evil drug dealers, and then I met men that were just trying to
To
make a
support their
living.
family.
Exactly. That could care less about the bullshit. Yeah, you fall into the bitches, you fall into the money, of course. But at the end of the day, my main thing that I'm doing this for is just for my family. And I don't know any other way on how to do it because the way the world has made, the world has gave me these cards to work with, and these are the cards that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for some, there's an escape, and for some, this is just their fucking lifestyle, and that's okay, But again, you got to understand that there's change. You could be a better person, but these guys, if no one tells you that your whole fucking life, and no one tells you you can change or that you're a better person, then you're not gonna change, because there's no one telling you can change. There's no one saying there's a better way. And none of these guys that I ever met seem like somebody said that to them. Like, yo, there's a better way. And because now they're at where they're at, driving the nice cars, whether it's rentals or not, driving the nice cars, got money in their pocket, everybody knows them. They're pushing weight now, even though the risk is so high. Like that, you're basically playing around with your freedom. And they're not throwing baby numbers at these guys anymore. They're throwing big time numbers at these men where you're not going to see the light of day for decades. But you're willing to take that risk because that's what you were raised on. And no one told you there was a different way. And I think that's why we're here as somebody that we got to see both sides. We got to see the drug addict side. We got to see the shit. You know how many times we had drugs in the car, giving it to other people, delivering drugs. You know how many times that we could have got pulled over or went to jail. For some of us, like me, went to jail, and had to learn the hard way.
I'm surprised I didn't with some of the stops we had.
Exactly. So I mean, it's all things that it took time to learn, and it was hard lessons, don't get me wrong. But now we can use what we learned and help other people. And I think that's where the change come from. And I think that's where the experience on going back to our original thing, when you're people that train and go to school for this, and the difference of actually living in it. Like if
I have the benefit of seeing it from both ways because I worked in the recovery field prior to me becoming a student pastor. And so I didn't even go to school for that yet. And so I saw like some of the things that I said back then, like I would never say now because I've been through it. And I know now, like, yo, you don't say that. Like one day at a time. I understand the concept, but I would never tell somebody, yo, take it one day at a time. And I understand for some people that might work, but I'm like, it's not even one day at a time. It's 1 second at a time. So I
It
think
really
saying
is.
1 day at a time is taking it, and you're like, yo, just take 1 day, bro. I can't go 1 day at a time. I have to. It's every second sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the same thing. Like if you went back to our discussion months ago, what was it when we started? One of our first podcasts was, "Do we think that relapse is a part of
oh yeah,
recovery?" Now,
yeah.
if you go back to that original statement, that
Make sure to
statement
go
has
check it out
changed.
in the
Yeah,
Preacher Corner on
check
YouTube.
out that
Preacher's Corner.
episode, and check out that episode because that person, that Scorpio that sat there and said those things, like change has had a completely different person stands in front of you now and will easily say, yeah, that I really do think that it's still the same. I think the premise is still the same, that when you aim low, you take it low. So
100%.
if you're telling a recovering addict that it's okay to relapse, yes, it works in a way that it gives them a safety net, but then it also says it's okay for you to relapse because that's okay. It's part of recovery when technically it's not. You're really supposed to not look at relapse as any part of your recovery. Now, if it happens, it's understandable because it's not easy to just, okay, I'm changing my life. Because you got to change not just your life, you have to change. You're not just changing the fact that you're taking drugs away, you're taking away the habit. You're taking away friends. You're taking away your things that you've literally cemented into your mind, like stealing and lying, manipulating. Things like this, you have to learn how to break down. And you have to relearn a whole different type of way of thinking. And it's not easy. That's why detox centers and inpatients and outpatients are so fucking important because you need help. You need somebody to help you break that down. That's why the 12-step program is a 2-man to 1,000 people. Nobody is just one person that recovers. That's why there's certain different people that like the 12-step program. Now, me personally, I do believe in the 12-step program. To anybody that's involved in it, by all means. But me personally, I don't think the 12-step program worked for me. I think my outpatient worked more for me. But that was because I learned more.
And you have some, like, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah. Some that just they just follow the outline. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do. You go to an outpatient, you finish the outpatient, you go, and now you start to live your life, and you kind of, what they call that is white knuckling it.
Yep.
Basically, and that's basically what you did. You white knuckled it, and for some people, and I would expect you to, for somebody with military background, that's that type of a person, a lot of those type of guys white knuckle it and try their best to hold on. But if you look at it, it wasn't that easy of a road for you, was it?
Not at all.
Because you white knuckled it, because that's the road that you decided to take. Now, you may have had an easier road have you had done either, if you if you would have 12-stepped it,
I think about that all the time since I work at
and yeah, you work at an outpatient. Exactly.
Like, I think about it all the time because I see just the things that I've had to do myself, and the things I've had to work through myself, where we're helping these people do it. And so I'm like, it would have been a lot easier road for me to go to a rehab and do it and get clean and do it in stages rather than try to do everything at once.
Exactly. But I mean, it's okay. Anybody,
but hindsight is always 50-50. Like,
exactly. And at the end of the day, listen, to each his own. We all are trying to learn how to beat something that it's not our fault how this happened. Some people fell into this because the drugs were introduced and it wasn't your fault.
I'm trying to find this damn episode.
Oh, the episode about
because I was going to drop it in the comments.
You should. Or this is
But I
what,
can't
and
find the fucking episode.
ladies and gentlemen, also we are also going to start changing a lot of things. If you are like we said earlier in past shows, we're building our brand. So eventually we'll start having reels and a bunch of different clips and things we'll be
Brought
adding
to you
to
by
the show.
this guy right here.
Brought to you by, yeah, you know, we're trying. So it's gonna get way better. So just give us some time. A lot of new things are coming, but we're gonna build off of what if you weren't here for the beginning, you're gonna want to be here for the beginning, because later
if you
on
were here for the beginning, man, more power to you.
Exactly, because I mean, and trust me, that those people that were here in the beginning, it will pay off. And I promise you, if nobody else if no one else pays you off, I will personally, because it's not easy to follow new podcasts, and it's not easy to follow new.
You know why I can't find the video? We did it on Facebook Live. That's why.
We did it, and especially that episode, I think, was a Facebook Live episode.
Yeah.
I think I still have it though, or I think I saved it somewhere. I gotta find it, because I do have it somewhere, because I have a lot of our old clips, because I saved it.
But yo, I wanna go on to a different question. Well, you know what? I wanna transition into
Lord.
I don't know, because I do like this question right here. What's something that you're still healing from?
I'm still healing.
We're gonna start going deep. These questions right here are gonna make people coming onto the table cry.
I'm still healing from losing somebody that I really cared about.
Okay.
I feel like addiction took my best friend from me. That took my best friend from me and refused to give her back. You know, and it was something that I wish I would have known what addiction was years ago. I wish I would have known what relapse was. I wish, this is why I do what I do now. I wish I would have been more educated before, and I would have never let it get to the point that it got. So I would have never lost that person. The memories I have of that person are just that now. They're memories. You know, I never will see that person again. I know that, you know, deep inside, I know that person's gone. That you know, addiction has changed her in a lot of ways. And the lifestyle has changed her in a lot of ways, and a lot of it isn't even her fault. It's the lifestyle, the things that have happened to her, being out there on those streets, you know, and the things that, you know, and just the bad things, and all a bunch of shit that has now turned her into the person that she is. You know, it's something that I'm not going to heal from, and I don't see me healing from it. You know, and especially when, you know, like I said, it was like it was my best friend. You know, it was somebody that, you know, that took the time out to learn the ins and outs of me. You know, I found somebody that, you know, wasn't into comic books, but because they cared about me, they learned it, and I thought that was so cool. You know, I thought it was cool that, you know, this person, you know, took the time out to learn all my little quirks. You know, I've done that for women, of course, you know, but I've never had a girl take the time out and do that for me.
Yeah.
You know, and learn, oh, you like comic books? Oh, let me watch the show with you. You know, and It's a hard one when you
I
lose
feel
your friends, especially somebody that means a lot to you and somebody that does a lot, and your friend wise,
yeah.
especially a connection like that. And I don't think I would be so surprised if it changed. I don't see it. And I know that some things addiction just doesn't give back.
Yeah.
Addiction keeps a part of us. There's a part of us that we're never going to get back.
No,
That
absolutely.
innocence, you'll never get back. You
And
just
I,
try
and I
to.
think that's why last Wednesday going to the same places, because I unlike you, like the places that we frequented during our addiction, like you knew those places because of addiction. Like and you even like were shocked when I showed you where my ex-wife and my kids live. Like,
Yeah.
because you're like, wow, like we were right there.
Yeah.
And so the same plate, like the Burger King that we used to sleep in. I remember when I wasn't in addiction and I would walk with my son and go eat
Family.
at Burger King.
Yeah.
Like, and so like I think for my addiction, like just like with you, like addiction took the best parts of me, and I think I'm still having to, and not necessarily like with the relationship with my ex-wife, because that was
Mm-hmm.
already done prior to my
Mm-hmm.
addiction. Like that
Mm-hmm.
that was that had worked its way down prior to that. But when you look at like the relationship with my kids, like
Well, I think that's
it
different
was
though.
it was definitely addiction that put that wedge, the final wedge in between the relationship with my. I would have never made the decision to stop taking them to school if it wasn't for my addiction, which then led to me not being able to see them. And so like
Well, I think it puts different goggles on you as well. Like if you remember when we went through that hood last time, which we'll post that episode soon.
well,
But when
we're
you
gonna talk
go,
about it Friday on the Savage Collective.
oh shit, hold on, damn it. Okay, I'm
Uh
back.
oh.
If
Okay.
you think about my fault, if you think about back then, and you think about when we walked, I truly believe that there are different type of goggles. Now, when
Mm-hmm.
you're in addiction, you look for the trap houses, you look for where the drugs hots are. So when you look at other things, you're not really, it doesn't matter to you, going to the store or going to, spending time with people or going here. Now, when we went through the hood this last time, we have different goggles on now. We
Yeah.
haven't been in the drug game. We don't know where the trap houses are, where people hang out anymore. So when we're driving around old spots that have been shut down and, been, boarded up and all types of shit, because that lifestyle, you have to be in that lifestyle on a constant basis to know where this is at
Well,
and that is
we
at
even
and
talked
where
about
these
that.
people are at. Exactly. But now there's different goggles now because we're in our sobriety days. We're in our back to our regular life days where our Burger King is a place to fucking eat at, and that's it. It's not some place where we would go to get Wi-Fi
It's a
at because
very
we're
good
chasing
place to eat
drugs.
at too.
Exactly. It's not, or now we're going to a store, but we're not going to a store to meet up with somebody to go cop. We're going to a store to go get something to eat or something to
Mm-hmm.
drink. It's a different, and I've seen that a lot because unlike you, I didn't just like you were lucky enough that when you got into your sobriety, you moved out the hood and
Yeah.
was able to go to, better places that didn't have that drug lifestyle. Unfortunately for me, I've had to do
You
my
stayed
whole
right in it.
recovery right in the and I've kept in contact with a lot of these people. I've seen them on a regular basis. So for me, it was like I still knew where all the spots were and stuff, and I still like I was keeping one foot in, one foot out,
Which never
and
works.
It doesn't, which is why I had to make a real serious choice last year and completely just stop, and it wasn't because um it wasn't, and what's unfortunate is I pulled myself out of it, and then it was weird. Right after I got out is when I heard a lot of my friends had passed, or I had lost a lot of people, like whether they had got arrested and now they're in jails doing a lot of time, or I lost people. Unfortunately, they passed away because when you're doing the drug thing, it's you're on borrowed time.
Yeah.
You're playing against the clock, and a lot of people didn't know how to quit, which is sad to see. It's sad to see when someone passes that point where they don't know that they lost.
Yeah.
Like, you've lost this, but the drugs are so strong that you're like, I didn't lose yet. I'm still good. Let me go get another bun. Let me go get, another 20 piece. I'm good. I can survive. And bro, you'd already lost. The game's over. And it's sad to see. I lost a lot of friends like that, and a lot of friends that I'm never gonna get back, and it sucks. But then again, on my other end, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to still have you. I'm blessed to still have my family that support me, and hopefully soon I'll be seeing on, more regular basis now that my life is starting to get back into, a sense of normality. And hopefully, I, like I said, I lost my best friend, but, hopefully, if God willing, maybe, I'm always a person that believes in hope, that, maybe not my best friend won't be the exact same person that may come out of this, but hopefully one day that person comes out that's just, a different person, but still some sort of a person comes out. But it's something that I don't put all my hope into, because drugs are drugs, man, and it does a lot of damage, and it's one of those things that sneak up on you. There, like I think everybody learns, like, this saying that, your addiction is outside in the parking lot, doing sit-ups,
push-ups,
doing push-ups, just waiting, waiting for you to get sad or have a moment of unclarity, or have a moment where you feel low, and then all of a sudden it says, oh, well, why not do this, or why not take some of this? It'll sneak up on you, and it's meant to. And I truly believe that that's out there. It's their dark side, and
yeah,
it sucks that forever you have to fight the battle, but
yeah,
you got to. I mean,
no, you have
and
to.
I think that's why doing this podcast, and that's why the you being a part of Flocka, me trying to get my SERPA license, and soon to have, to try to give back in any way that I can to a bunch of groups and a bunch of organizations that took time out to help me. That if it wasn't for, these groups and these outpatients and these counselors, if it wasn't for these people, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for my judge being patient with me and being like, giving me chance after chance after chance, I'd be sitting in a jail cell somewhere still in my addiction, but it was because of these types of programs and these things that people have made that help me. And I want to be able to add to these programs and help. And I mean, I truly believe that that's what my purpose is, is to help others. There's got to be a reason why me and you are still here on this planet. There are plenty of times you especially could have died. Me especially could have died. I've OD'd plenty of times without you around, that I should be dead. Should be dead. And what's funny is, you change. Granted, it took you a minute, but you changed. I didn't learn my lesson. Dude, I broke my back damn near relapsing, ODing. Broke my back. Whole back brace had to be put in because I ended up ODing And the girls, because they were giving me CPR and didn't know how to give me CPR, ended up breaking my collarbone and my fucking back because they didn't know how to give CPR the right way. But because they were trying to save my fucking life, they were doing anything and anything to keep me alive until the ambulance came, which I'm blessed. But it's not like I learned my fucking lesson, because as soon as I got, put in the cast, the first thing I wanted to do was get high,
Yes.
and the same, and then I OD again.
Yeah.
A week later, I OD again, and then I do the same thing. I literally woke up from the OD and was ready to hit another pipe. It's insane. Like that, like literally, like your heart stopped, nigga. You died. Wasn't here no more. End of the game. And you still woke up and was
End of
like,
the road, bro.
you feel like, yo, like that was it. And you're still like, you know what? Let me hit that pipe one more time. Like, what? That makes no fucking sense. But when
it does when you consider what we were doing, like,
or what we were, hiding from, or
yeah.
not wanting to deal with, which says a lot about what, a person's going through in their life, which is why I try hard not to judge other people in addiction. Sometimes I listen to some of these niggas and they sound like fucking idiots. Like, what? But then I can't sit there and judge that person too much, because it's like, I get it. I don't understand what you're going through. I don't know what demons you got going on in there, what you've dealt with. Maybe that's why you're in this. So I'm not going to I can't sit there and just judge that person. I try really hard not to, and it's not easy, and like you're asking, when it comes down to, what, like, to go back to your question, it's something that, certain things you just don't get back. I think if anybody's in addiction, there's a part of you doesn't come back,
No, and I think that's why, like, when I made the post about last week, like, I called it a grave site, like, because it is, because a part of us died there and was left there, and so and we do have to mourn that loss. Like, I think it's stupid to tell people not to mourn the person that you were in addiction. And so looking at that, like, what version of yourself are you trying to leave behind? Are you trying to leave in the grave as you continue to move from basically from death into life?
I think I just want to leave behind the naive person.
Yeah.
I think that before I was very naive. I think that I was still a kid. I think that I looked at things like still a kid, and I think that was my problem. I think instead of it took, unfortunately for some people, it took for me, my addiction to pull out the man in me.
Yeah.
Now I'm more aware of my responsibilities as a man, as a boyfriend, as a husband, as a son, as a grandson. I feel like I'm more on level of what I'm supposed to be. I think that's the person I'm leaving behind. I'm leaving behind my child, my childlike, qualities. I do still joke around a lot, but I also don't look at everything as a joke anymore. I truly believe that I can make things better being the person I am now too.
Absolutely.
I used to think that I wasn't, when I first started addiction, I didn't think anybody was losing anything if I was in my addiction. Like, who cared where I was at? And then I realized that people do care, where I was at, my mom, my family, a lot of my friends, friends that watch this podcast, friends that I still talk to, friends that I went to work with years ago. These were still friends that cared about what happened to me. Friends I went to school with in elementary school that reached out. Like, these are still friends of mine. It's just that, I thought that no one cared. And that's not true. And that's not true for a lot of people that are in their addiction that think that. A lot of people in our addiction, we think that no one cares. And that's not fucking true. A lot of fucking people care. It's just some people aren't good at communicating that. Some people don't know how to help. And they're scared that if they try to say, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do drugs, or it's just going to force you away. So instead they stay quiet, and that's not their fault or your fault. That's just how it is. And the best, there's no right or wrong answer to that.
I have a good so I have a couple questions I want to close with. And the first one is, if somebody, because, and not just tonight, but there's going to be lots of people watching this. And so for anybody listening to this either tonight or coming across it in the future, anybody listening blah, 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 blah. Anybody listening to it that feels stuck, what would you tell them? And it whatever situation that they might be in, whether that's addiction, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a certain situation or a job or whatever it is. If someone watching this, whether tonight or later on, is watching and they feel stuck, what is it that you would tell them?
I think that society has made us feel like it's uncomfortable to communicate with people and to be ourselves. So I think that a big part of it is, if you're in a relationship that you're struggling with, communicate with your spouse or communicate with other people to get opinions on how to deal with that situation. Don't just hold it in and think that you know how to deal with the situation, because you're not meant to know how to deal with every situation. Same thing goes with people in their addiction. Addiction is hard. It's not meant to be easy. That's why, anybody that's ever been in addiction will tell you don't do it. It's not the cool thing that kids are doing. It's not fun. I remember so many people told me, yo, don't try this. Don't do it. Don't do it. What are you doing? Don't do it. So many fucking people told me not to do certain things. And because I was young and stupid, I did it and tried it. And then I regret it. Years later, I regret every fucking stupid ass decision I made. And that was because, again, I didn't listen and I didn't communicate and I didn't know how to. If you're stuck, you have to be okay with asking for help. Especially, I know that's hard for a man.
So you have to.
As a man, it's one of the hardest things. And to say I need help, or can you help me? It's really not even in a man's vocabulary almost. But if you can somehow figure out your own way on how to, because everybody has their own way on how to say, I need help, or can you help me? There's some people have there's all types of different ways to communicate that. Figure out your way to communicate that and do it. Absolutely. Reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm struggling with this or that, or I don't know how to do this or that. Don't be afraid. And especially if you're lucky enough to find that special someone in your life, hold on to them, lean into them.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship and if you're in a strong relationship and you truly love the other person and you trust them, lean into them. Ask for the help. Say, babe, I'm struggling with this. I don't know how to deal with this.
And on the flip side, if you are in a relationship with someone and they come to you and say that.
Yeah.
Like,
And
don't pass it off.
don't take it. That was one of the mistakes I did. I remember she didn't ask for help, but she did. She did. She was ignoring. When I met my spouse, she was in a recovery, and I didn't understand what those groups meant. I didn't understand what going to her mental health and one-on-one and how important those things were. And so when she skip it, I let her skip it. Or I made excuses for her and hey, fuck that. Just spend time with me. But those things were important. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have never let her skip those moments. No, fuck
No,
that.
absolutely.
You're gonna talk to your one-on-one counselor and get some shit off your chest. You're gonna continue to go to your groups and go to, I don't give a damn what time they are. We're gonna get you there. Because these things are important. And each one, and it's how you socialize in this world. Especially being in addiction, that's how you socialize.
Yeah.
And I just wish that I really wish that I would have known better way before, because I wouldn't be in this podcast right now, because I would have never met you, because we would have never fell into where we were at.
See, and that's why hindsight is always 50-50, because you might not have known that, which led to addiction, but how many more people are now being saved because of it? And
True.
So I think that's what I want people to know, like, is just like one decision isn't the end. Like, and you might be like, man, why did I make that? Because how many times in recovery do you wake up like, man, I wish I wouldn't have went through addiction. I wish I wouldn't have done this. I wish I wouldn't have done that. But if I never had gone through addiction, I would never be where I am today. And I would never know the things that I know today. And so
but you got to respect the decision, because
100%. And that's why, like,
you're gonna lose things. Like,
I value my time in addiction. I appreciate my time in addiction. Would I go through it again? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But do I value it, and do I respect it, and do I like look at it and say I'm not really glad that I went through because of the people that I hurt along the way, but I'm glad that I went through it, because who I am today would not be who I am if it wasn't for me having gone through addiction, because it opened up doors of myself that I needed to see, that I wouldn't have seen any other time.
Sure.
But the last question, and this really, and I think it's suiting for the first episode of The Table. What does staying sad? Because we say at the end, like I say all the time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay savage. I have it on all the images. It's become a part of the Savage Collective brand. Whenever I make a video or anything, stay humble, stay hungry, stay savage. Looking at staying savage, what does staying savage actually mean to you?
To me personally, if you're being savage is is having courage. Have the courage to take the first step. Have the courage to be the change. Have the courage to not be scared, to be different. If you're gonna be savage, you gotta be yourself, and you gotta be different. I'm not saying that you gotta go against every curve, but if you feel like there's something that you need to change in your life, then don't hesitate, be savage, and take that change. Don't be the motherfucking change.
Facts.
Don't sit back and wait.
That's why we started this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We started this podcast because it's easy to fall into depression. It's easy to feel like you're alone, and it's easy, and unfortunately, the way social media is, it's built to make you feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's built to make you feel like that person is living their perfect life while you're still trying to get, you know, your 9 to 5 situated, or, you know, you're living this hectic lifestyle with kids and you don't know how to maintain, or you're alone and don't know why you haven't met the right person, and all these other bullshit things in your life where you should be happy. My dad teaches me this a lot, and it's funny. My father has teach me this every fucking day of my life. Be happy that you woke up today. Be
Mm-hmm.
happy that you woke up today and you saw another day. Now, it may not be the perfect day, and not every day's supposed to be perfect, but you should still be happy that you're up, you're alive, and you got somewhat of your health. And you may not know, if you may meet a person in the street that you have no idea that you met them, giving them a cigarette, talking to them, hey, how's your day, thank you, things like that you give to other people, whether you know it or not, could mean something to somebody.
Facts.
You never know what your effect is on another person's life, and you'll never
100%.
know. It's not like that person's gonna find you and be like, "Hey, remember at that
Well,
place?"
they
And you
might.
said thank
They
you.
might.
They might, but then you may be scared if those persons chase you down, you know, and be
Get
like,
back
"Hey,
here.
get back here!
But
Thank
it might
you
have
for
it might
telling
happen
me."
years
But
later. It
I
might happen
mean,
years later down the road.
exactly, and it might, you know, that's why you. But that's where the savage part comes from. Don't don't let life pass you. Savage can mean so many different things, and
One hundred percent.
that's why we chose this name, is because it's different for everybody. It's a name that's not just, you know, to preachers one way. For me, it's another. For another two people on the podcast that watch it, Savage could mean something else. The
Well, and
main
that's
reason,
we're gonna find out. That's gonna be the last question for everyone that comes onto the table. What is savage to you? Because like you
exactly.
said, everybody has a different definition. Like when I think about savage, I think about grit. Like I I white knuckled it. So like savage to me is like you get down and dirty. Like you push through whatever it means. Like
Yeah,
whatever the cost. Like even if you feel tired, if you don't want to do it, you do it.
that's why
Um
we have a
and
podcast
you
now. Like,
keep pushing through. Like if you wake up one day and you're like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to work. You fucking get up
get
and you
up,
go to work because it's not the moments that you want to do it that make you who you are. It's the moments where you don't want to do it. It's the moments where you want to give up. It's the moments where you want to throw in the towel and you say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and that's what staying savage is like. Because life is going to hit you, it's going to, but it's having, like you said, it's having that courage to continue. That's where savage comes in, and that's when I thought about like what do we name this, and that's why we want to talk to people who have been through shit, because that if you've been through shit and you live to tell about it, in my eyes, you're savage. Like, and the more you go through, the more you can go through, and people who have gone through shit know shit, and they can help other people go through the same thing. And so that, like, when I think of savage, that's what I think is the person who pushes through regardless of what's going on, even if
I
it
agree.
hurts. Like I wake up every day and I hurt, but guess what? I still go. Like, and so
Same thing for me.
it's just pushing through regardless of what it is, and saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this because life doesn't slow down. So why am I?
Same thing for me. You know, I go through depression modes and all types of things. But I'm lucky enough that I have family, and like my mother, that keeps me motivated on a 24-hour basis because she is fucking savage. I follow my father that is a fucking beast in his own right. That's also very savage and gets me motivated on a daily basis. I have a co-host that constantly blows up my fucking phone on an every hourly basis, which unfortunately keeps me fucking savage. And I have a lot of people in my life. Listen, but and I'm lucky enough that I have a bunch of people around me that I've made around me. It wasn't something that happened, and that's another thing. It's not something that happened overnight. I built this. I built these people around me and chose these people to be around me because they're important to me and they keep me motivated and keep me grounded. So if I feel like I'm falling off, one of them, if not all of them, will be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Step it up. And that's what they're supposed to do. You know, and that's how I stay where I'm at, and that's how I keep getting better. And that's basically how you're savage and how you become part of, you know, a group of amazing people, you know. And it's who, you know, if you want to be amazing, surround yourself with amazing people. You know, if you want to be a funny person, surround yourself by fucking comedians. You know, if you want to be a fucking wrestler, surround yourself by athletic motherfuckers that are wrestlers. Surround yourself with people that mean something. If you want to be in the comic books, surround yourself with comic book motherfuckers.
You are the average of the people that you hang out with.
Always, and you will always be that. And if you don't realize that, if you haven't realized that now, then you'll never realize it, because it's something that you have to understand that your circle is what creates you.
100%.
If you are around scumbag ass people, you're gonna be a fucking scumbag ass person. Which is why 9 times out of 10, most of us fell into our fucking addiction, because our circle were mixed of scumbag ass motherfuckers that kept us down and had no problem doing that. Well,
that's why we are choosy about who we bring on this platform. Like,
exactly,
because we want to make sure to put in front of you people that you can model, model off of. And if like we said, if you want to be successful, you hang out with successful people. If you want to get out of the hole, you hang out with other people that have gotten out of the hole.
That's right.
If I want to know the quickest way somewhere, I'm going to listen to someone who has one leg.
That's been through it. That's taken that route. Did you say one leg?
Yeah. They're gonna know the quickest way, bro.
You're so wow.
They're gonna know the quickest way to get there.
My man Limpy.
I'm chilling with Gimp. I'm chilling with Mr. Gimp.
My nigga Gimp.
My bad if you got one leg. Not making funny.
I can't.
We do not make fun of people.
We do not believe in this at all.
We're gonna have to edit this out.
Go edit lives. Edit lives. Yo, this won't be in the original one.
But on real talk, like if you're going through anything today, like we don't know what you're going through. We don't know where you are in life. We don't know where you're watching from.
No.
If you're a teenager, adult, like older person, we don't know what's going on. But what we do know is that you're not alone, and there is help. Like if you are going through something, you can reach out to us. Like it might take a little bit to respond, but we will definitely respond to you. You don't have to fight this battle alone. You don't have to do this life alone. That's why I called it the Savage Collective, because we are we're building a family. We're our circle and our collective gets bigger and bigger and bigger the more that we do this. And so
me and Preacher are the easiest people to contact.
What's that?
Me and Preacher are the easiest people to contact.
Facts.
You know, if you ever feel like you're lost, or you feel like there's an issue, or you just want to talk, by all means, you know, hit up one of our Facebooks, you know, or one of our platforms. By all means, you can reach out to us if you need to talk, or you have an idea, or you want to just be on the show. if you ever want to just, hey, I'm going through something and you need somebody to talk to.
You just want to talk bullshit.
9 times out of 10, we do this and we do 9 to 5s. Trust me, I got more than enough time to talk to somebody.
I do 7
and
to
help.
3, but whatever.
Same thing. We still here. That's what we here for.
Really, I do like 7 to 5, but
7 to 5s. You can. He's a hard worker.
but
hard worker.
But we got merch. I'll drop the link inside the description, both on YouTube and on Facebook. We have a linked tree, so you can just go on right there, and it shows where the merch is, shows where the YouTube, it shows how to contact us, all of that. This episode, every episode, I have a certain person that I dedicate each episode to. They know who they are, and I'll leave it at that. They know who they are. I'm sure Kyle Scorpio has someone he dedicates each episode to.
As always,
they're the reason why I do it. They're like he said. He already said who the person is, and she's the reason why he does each episode. And so there's a person for me where because of them I do each episode, and I honestly I would have stopped and not gotten back on here because I was in a dark place. But this person encouraged me to really get back into this, and so this is for you. So thank you. We'll be back on Friday with the Savage Collective to talk about healing from broken places, and we'll talk more about what we experienced when we went back on Wednesday last week. So I'm excited for that. And then Smoking with Preacher on Saturday, we'll be talking about the GOAT of rap. So I'm excited.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. But Scorpio, thanks for joining. As
always
usual,
a pleasure.
Thanks for being my co-host. Couldn't do this without you, bro.
I'm always having fun and and I'm so blessed to be on this show and always blessed to be around. And I thank you for having me.
Always. So, without further ado, stay humble, stay hungry, stay savage.
Stay savage.
Preacher out.
Has been. Speak royalty when you say the name. And speak loyalty when you say the gang. Trend hoppers follow whatever's next. When lyricism returns, all of you niggas dead. Might be on the rooftop.